Lately, I've been thinking a lot about Steppenwolf's character in Zack Snyder's Justice League and how that character actually stole the movie for me on my couple of first viewings of it, and how and why I think that he is a much more interesting and nuanced character that a lot of people make the character out to be or perceive the character the first or the few times that they have watched the movie itself. And to just start things off with, I would say that the character is much more than what he appears to be at first sight. As of course, when you think about the character Steppenwolf, you are immediately drawn to that exquisitely outstanding visual design that they have managed to pull off. They've really created something unique and alien look for that character. And when we think about just Zack Snyder's filmography within the DC universe, he has had this tendency, or have used this kind of motif before, where the alien character or the villain character served as an introduction to a completely different world, as was with the case back in Man of Steel with Zod's character, as we have learned a lot of what Krypton actually was through Zod's perspective, if you will. But here we get the same thing, as Steppenwolf really introduces us to just apocalypse in general. And of course, through the character, we are introduced to, or his relationship with Apocalypse, we are introduced to the history of the kind of current regime, if you will, and we learn more about the lore of that whole realm as it stands. And what really stuck out to me, like the first time I watched the movie, is that Kieran Hines' performance really helps to sell this conflicted and angry alien as a relatable figure. And of course, one key detail here is that they have given Steppenwolf human eyes in order to sell this conflicted character in a sense, and I think that combined with Kieran Hines' performance and cadence really has worked in the sense that it really made the character more relatable and basically sold it to the audience, if you will. But kind of the tragedy of this character, the thing with Steppenwolf, that he's ultimately the vanguard in Darkseid's game, or he is basically just a pawn in Darkseid's game. Like, when Darkseid learned, of course, that the anti-life equation was here and now he could come collect it, he didn't do that because he wanted Steppenwolf to deal with the problem himself, and that's why Darkseid, is such a truly villain's villain, if you will, because he lets other people do his job for him, and he probably knew that Steppenwolf wouldn't really succeed, but he made him do it anyway. But when it comes to Steppenwolf's motivation, we have to make the distinction that he is not villainly conquering these different worlds, as he is forced by Darkseid in order to return home, of course, which I think is a pretty relatable motivation as far as motivations go for basically everybody that watches the movie. But later down the line, we learn more things of what happened and why he's exiled from Apocalypse. And we learn that he was kind of part of a coup to overthrow Darkseid, who is of course his nephew, his own family. But after that, after he saw the error in his ways, he slaughtered those who sought his nephew's throne. But of course that wasn't enough, so he was exiled from Apocalypse. And he has been wanting to return to Apocalypse ever since he made his mistake. And he even admits to the mistake that he has made in the past, which I think we can all relate to, in a sense that we've all made mistakes and we are not really proud of them, but we have to learn from them. And he even shows regret towards them and regrets them deeply. I don't necessarily know that is due to the consequences of those actions or the actions themselves. And to me, that just kind of gives you that whole picture that his story is a tragic one. And you could even say that the character itself is a tragic, because ever since he was exiled from Apocalypse, he's basically has been a shell of himself. He is kind of forced to conquer worlds in order to appease his lord and master Darkseid. But of course, that's never going to happen because he owes him 50,000 more worlds, which is he's probably not going to be able to achieve in like a million years or something crazy like that. He's kind of a dead man or dead alien walking, however you want to put it. And what really stuck out to me most in like my fourth or fifth time watching the movie is that there is that line after Superman's resurrection, he has come to get the mother box, and Silas Stone just closes himself off with the mother box and he says, "Give me the mother box." And to me, that always came off as kind of weird, but then I started thinking about this whole character, and I came to the conclusion that he really doesn't want to kill people. When you really think about his whole arc within the movie, if you can call it that, or his whole motivation, he just wants to collect the mother boxes and return home. And that's basically what he wants. Like, he doesn't necessarily murder innocent beings in a sense. Like, he tortures people, that's for sure, in order to get the information, the necessary information that he needs to collect the mother boxes and move away from this planet, because he has a lot of planets to conquer in order to return home. But he never actually attacks people. And that's kind of the case with the Starlab sequence, as when he boom tubes near Heroes Park, he doesn't attack the civilians and the military people there. He just wants to go for the mother box. And they just clearly signal to me that, oh, this guy or this alien, this character is much more interesting than what he first appeared to be. But of course, as I mentioned before, he's a savage beast in a sense that the end that justified the means kind of way, which of course makes him the villain of this story, but he's still only a tool in the larger scope of things when it comes to just Darkseid conquering and trying to fight the anti-life equation in general. But with all things considered, I think that Steppenwolf proved to be a rather interesting villain, as he has what I'm looking for when it comes to kind of a checklist for a villain, if you will, or just ideas in general. He has a tragic backstory, he has relatable motivations, but to me what separates him from the heroes is that for him the end that justified the means. And of course we can also talk about the fact that he also introduced us to the apocalyptic history, Darkseid, the Sun, and so on. And through that he set up the stakes for the future projects to come within the Snyderverse. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you did so, please leave a like and let me know all of your thoughts in the comments down below regarding what do you think about Steppenwolf's character as a villain. Were you disappointed with him? Were you in favor of his character's motivations and arc? Subscribe to the channel for more content like this one, and I'll see you in the next one. And until then, remember to keep it insightful.